morning. Welcome to Good Morning East Africa. This is ArtFlakes. These guys are just making me to laugh even before I start the recording. You guys, I don't know what you have. But it's awesome. Once again, let me introduce to you my co-host.
I'm Mutiu, Olawuyi as usual. We are here to give you the flex in hearts.
The good thing is in this episode we started with the high note. The other note, like what's happening. And our guest, once again.
They call me Ubaji, Isiaka, Abubakar, Easy, and literary analysis and a critic. So I'm here today again to continue from what we started.
A political critic or literary critic?
Literary critic now. I do not do politics.
Are you sure you've never done politics?
Political.
Are you sure you've never done politics? Did you hear that?
Because you can't be a literary critic without having some flavor of
I think literature is life, so you can't isolate.
Okay. You guys, I don't know the magnitude of the political and analytical that you have together. Yeah. But let's go straight to the poem, Amazement. So maybe you can start by telling us how the first stanza goes by just reading it.
As far as the poem is concerned, we'll start. What I want to do is that I would have loved that our guests do some part of the thing. I would not want to present it alone. Since I'm the host.
Yeah, he starts, so then we do it.
Kick off with that. Because we're going to do the analysis of that.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just leave that for our guests, then we'll go deeply into that. I will support you while you're doing that. When you do with the first answer, I'll take it from there.
All right. Thank you for the honor. And okay, shall we now?
Yeah. Amazement.
All right.
Amazement.
I hope I got it turned correctly. All right. Amazement. Oh, dazzling darling. Happy happenstance and fair fortune to you, mind mesmerizer. Since we became acquainted, you've been my only fever. You are like a light-footed charger, canny at midnight combat. The fight by close engagement, where the rider takes revenge. Men constantly looking. I'm an empty pail that's purified by your love's burning twigs. Every night I go out with the dream of your long-held image.
When the green of the grand in the service first and still unplowed. When the brow of it grow bows and it collapses under the weight of its own beauty, and there's no space or plant on a foot, not even room to learn. When just falling rain gathers, making the earth's curves heavy. When in the red light of evening, the sky is collecting clouds, the exact hue of henna bearing the sun's brand. When the sun itself is clothed in the very color of carcinousness. When the rain promises, the rain hang on the neck. Your looks are cousins to all this. And who, if not accustomed to it, could tell you two apart?
You are that tree toppling a tall mountain, rooted in fertile soil, sated with water and ready to give fruit. Its climate differing from that of all other trees. Its setting renowned for its beauty, its topmost canopy and branches holding each other up, its fruit so ripe and red, each roused to each other on every flank, and blossoming from ear to heel. Like the lovely lines that ring the truth, the birds chorusing till all their songs are intermingled, then holding a song war, singing themselves into a stalemate and seeking reinforcements. After a while, when each waves feather flat to each, anger driving them apart, their claws digging crossly in the bark of the tree, the making of the melodies straining their tongues, they stray from the tunes till the imbalance is corrected. The young people too won't eat and refuse to go home. Unmarried girls already there, and as though to a place of dancing. Young men too, maybe. They are fated to marry, chattering in the eager evening. Who would not choose you?
Anybody. You share your nature with this blaze-filled universe. If God will not be angry or throw me into hell, I would compel the people to worship you. Let both black and white crowd to crown you now.
Okay. And then you say, thank you. You say that. You know, I was feeling as if you're telling me all these words. And I was like, if only I was a lady. I don't know, I would be now standing up and be like, this is fire on me. But
a man said something, I think I read somewhere that the man said, I have been to every part of the world, but I'm yet to see that lady who is immune to flattery.
What are you saying?
Yeah.
Okay, what was he meaning? Maybe just to ask.
There's no lady who is immune to flattery. Every woman, when you flatter a woman,
Once
she
you
gets
flatter them,
I head becomes full like an overblown balloon.
Okay, let's get to the analysis of this poem. Now, you see, there are very, very few poems that can move on one way of Hadraawi's love. And if you look at this, it's unfortunate that we are held back by the language barrier that you have them. So what do you have to say about this?
You see, as I will always say, when you translate a poem, in fact, even scientifically, it is agreed that there is no conversion of energy that without losing something must give. When you convert something to another thing. So basically, you see, the Somali language is a different language from the English language, and whatever the translator can do, he can only try to approximate, get close to what the poet is saying. It can never be exactly the same as the poet.
You're right.
And it's quite unfortunate that my knowledge of the Somali language is still very poor, but I'm very interested in this man, and because of him, I would decide to dedicate myself to learning the language, so I could assess the poem in the first language itself and get close enough to him as I could be. You see, once you are reading the poem, it's like reading the mind of the poet. You are reading his inner emotions, his feelings, and that is why, you know, Wordsworth says, William Wordsworth, an English poet, said that poetry is the spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings and emotion recollected in tranquility. So basically, you assess a poem, you see it. What you have with you is not just a poem. It is the imagination, the thinking,
and the
feeling of the poet, and that's basically what we are seeing here. With him, is showing us that love is a universal quality. Every human being needs love. And when you are faced with the love poem, you read, there are these emotions that it inspires in you, makes you happy, it brings joy to your mind.
Now, let me get to you. You see, there's this guy called W.N. Hubbard who translated this poem. What's your feeling? Do you think he tried to catch the feeling of Hadraawi's?
What the translator has done is to just help the world to know that there is something hidden somewhere. And the person cannot, as our guests have just said, cannot give us absolute content of the message of the person. But when you look at the content of what the translator has really tried to ensure that at least there is flavor or the flakes of the work and the language of the writer there, particularly the poetic pattern. It tries as much as possible. That's why 3 people, not one person, 3 individuals work on this translation. 2 Somalis, not even one. 2 Somalis with the British poets and translator. So that's why it's close to. That's why I wouldn't have bothered to translate this. I would not have bothered to even do analysis of the content of his work if they have not. If I've had that only one British man translate it just like that. But they try as much as possible to first contextualize, find those people who understand the culture, who understand the language and the mission of the writer, do the first translation. Another person comes in, translates. Then now use our own ultimate skill of poetry and translation to present that.
Okay, thank you. Now, tell us more about this analysis now, in details.
Well, basically the poem has to do with the theme of love and feminine beauty, and you know it embraces the beauty of a woman, possibly the poet's lover, and you can see basically in the first stanza the poet calls her a dazzling darling, you know, mind mesmerizer, using beautiful language to qualify her beauty,
and
he compares her. He compares her to a charger, that's a horse, a sturdy horse that is used in battle. So basically, it brings up several images to compare, to talk about her beauty. And one thing I'm fascinated with in the poem is that, unlike other poems that I've encountered, it doesn't has to do with it doesn't bring up salacious images. He's not praising the body parts of the woman. Some of them will come and say, your hand is like this, your face is like this, your mouth is like this. So he does away with words that are salacious and just talk about the beauty in wholity, considering our entire beauty as a whole. Then, after the first stanza, you go to the second stanza, you see, that is the part that is most enticing to me. That second stanza where he looks at the woman's beauty in terms of nature, comparing her with several aspects of nature.
The green of the ground.
The green of the ground, the sunset, the spring, and the summer.
True.
And you come to the end. He says that if not because God will be annoyed, I would have even asked the word to crown you and say, yes, you are the most beautiful woman. And he will command her he will command that she should be idolized. So that is the extent. He's trying to show us the extent of the love he has for this particular woman that he has immortalized in this poem. And that's what poetry does. It immortalizes people.
Actually, if you look at, there's what we call romantic poem and romanticism.
Now,
romanticism has to do with appreciation of nature.
Exactly.
It's different from just beauty, love. That is romantic. But romanticism is that is it. So he combines these two together in that poem. From your analysis, you can see the second side.
Second stanza that he looks at nature.
Yeah.
Even down to the third stanza where he talks about the tree.
Yeah.
The tree of the tree that attracts even animals and young ladies
and it gives out the fruits and the soil.
So this is a tree that doesn't wither. Despite whether be it in the dry season or in the rainy season, it remains evergreen. It keeps producing fruit. The animals are always satiated when they stay there. Young maidens come to eat, and even young people go there as if they are going there for dancing.
You're right.
So you can see the extended sense of metaphor or concept that he has applied in that poem makes the poem so beautiful that you are surprised by the element that is infused in terms of praising the woman.
Actually, what I found out is that not only the aspect of that nature, the lyrical nature of the poem itself, using some lyrical devices like assonance, like consonants, like alliteration.
And
that makes it to be rhythmic. You put the beat there, you put whatever you want to. Any instrument you put there.
I listened to the Somali version of it. I could not understand what was being said though. One thing I did notice was the rhythmic flow of the poem. It was almost like music to the ears.
Yeah.
There was this end rhyme. The rhyme was coming in, and it was an alliterative verse. And the translator tried as much as possible to get that same style, but he could not get it to. He could not perfect it the way
and I've realized at the end of each stanza, like the first stanza, he leaves us with a question.
No, that is the second and third stanza.
Second and third stanza, a question. And then the last stanza, he says, let both black and white crowd to crown you now.
Yeah.
He's like, now.
He's
like a command. Why
not even later? It has to be now.
Now, why?
And they are not only going to do anything, but they should crown her as the queen of beauty.
Exactly.
Okay,
that's what he's trying to say.
Was this guy in love? Maybe to ask.
When he
Why are you looking at me like that? Look at this guy. Look at this guy.
I just want to give you when you say the only person in the world that can appreciate beauty or love more are the poets.
Come on, no.
Reality,
this guy, what is he saying, man?
He's been biased.
I'm not being biased, so I'm telling you the reality.
You're biased.
No, what I would say.
Listen.
What I would say.
I want you to understand this. One thing you have to understand is that if you can go deeper into your head and you can touch the peak, the deep side of it, as a poet, no other person can do that. You know that.
Basically,
poets are the ones that go deeper into. And when you talk about, look at this poem, Amazement. You were so amazed when you read the poem.
Of course, I was.
Of course, that shows that he went deeper into his heart to bring the love out,
but
to be able to describe the person.
Do you know something? I would rather say that love makes a poet of a man. Love
Did
makes
you hear
a man a
that?
poet.
Did you hear that?
Hatred to can make you to
Look at him now. Look at him.
a poet. You know, a man. You know, hatred and love is emotion. If
These
you
are-
use
these
the
are-
word emotion, that's okay.
These are emotions.
Love
but
is the
you see,
positive side.
When a man
why
is in
emotion
love,
is the negative
when
side.
a man is in love, he sees the woman. Oh, he says, "You are the apple of my
Yeah.
eye." You are the apple of my eye. That's not normal language. That's poetic language.
Yes.
You are the sugar in my tea.
Yeah.
Basically, these are poetic language. He is inspired by love to craft out all those words that he would naturally not have said in the
Because poetry is natural.
Okay, guys, I think I need now.
like,
I need some
I would
order.
rather say
I
that,
need some order
man is
here.
not
I
in
need
love.
some
Yes.
order.
He's a poet.
Okay.
And, of course, anybody can be a poet
Okay.
if you are emotionally attached.
In fact, I would actually say everyone is a poet. Do you know why? Because the way you analyze your words and
Yeah.
your phrase before you bring them out, automatically you're a poet, right?
Yeah.
So I can also
Because-
be a good poet in terms of love.
As long as you have emotion.
Okay.
Right? If you are emotionless, you are heartless. You cannot be a poet.
No.
Because emotion, you have to use your emotion to be able, whether negative or positive.
Yes.
You understand what I mean? Yeah.
Talking of analysis, we have I think there are 4 or 5 things that we're talking about. We have the spring, the summer, and we have
That's basically different phases of nature
Yes.
described in the second stanza of the poem. You know, he began by describing summer, and he was basically comparing our beauty to those various phases of nature. And he says all these. You know, he said that with spring, he said when the green of the ground, its surface fresh and still on plow. When he said that actually defines the spring period where you have the green grass still growing. It's a time of greenery. Then you have the period where you have the blossoming of the fruit, where the flower begins to open and it begins to grow fruit. That is when the summer period. There he says that when the brow of its growth bows, when the brow of its growth. You know, look at that language itself. The brow of its growth. You know, when the tree branch is heavy with fruit, it goes like this,
down,
just like the brow of the eye.
Yeah.
When he says when the brow of its growth bows, and it collapses under the weight of its own bounty. You can see the bounty here are the fruit he's talking about. Then and there's no space to plant a foot, not even a room to lean. That is filled with listen. And you know, when you picture when you read this and you keep saying these words, what comes to your mind as this? You picture this image. You've seen something like this before. You picture where you've seen such a thing before, and it comes to your mind. You imagine how beautiful that scene would look like. Imagine, just look at the tree with fruits on it, and it's filled with fruit, and they are everywhere, even on the ground. You can't even find a place to put your leg. You know, there you think of that image or that beautiful scene. Then he comes and look at the raining period. He says, when just falling rain gathers, making the earth's cups heavy. That is the well. You know, when it rains, the water in the well swells up.
Yeah.
So he's not mentioning these periods. He's not mentioning them. He's only just describing them using words. Rather than saying that you are like summer, you are like spring. Yeah. He's using words to describe them.
Unlike Shakespeare, shall I compare you to the summer day?
The summer day.
You know?
No, even in Shakespeare, Shakespeare identify the beauty of summer. Then says that the woman is even more beautiful than that period. You can see here, this man is telling us that this man is telling us that this period, the picture you can capture, the beauty of this period is only comparable to his lover. That is what is operating. Then he also mentioned sunset.
Sunset, yeah.
Describing sunset, not mentioned. He said, when in the light red light of evening, you can see the light red light. It comes with the image that shining glow of evening. Then it says, in the sky collecting clouds, the exact hue of inner. You know what the one the women wear on their hands. Then he says, bearing the sun's brand, when the sun itself is clothed in the very color of cashmere. When the rain promising rays hang on its neck, you imagine that period of sunset. Then you think of what picture the spring looks like, then the summer. And he says that all these are cousins to you.
You are related to them.
Exactly. They look just like you, the beauty itself.
But you are more bitter than them.
No, he didn't.
I was just imagining, you know, before you can write something like this, you must be a naturalist. you know.
True.
Somebody who believe in nature, who sometimes just sits at one corner of your house
And look at the nature.
around. Wole Soyinka, if you get to his house, you realize that he has bushy parts in at the backyard. You know, it's not only just
he's living in an isolated area. Yes, he's living as
even inside his house. I mean,
at the time they said, I was
out.
told that you can't go there with a vehicle.
Yeah.
You can't. You have to come down somewhere. Then you trek down.
They are
down.
inspirational.
Because
Nature is inspirational.
Definitely,
When
definitely.
if you sit down, you will see beyond the green grass.
What are you saying?
You see beyond
the blueprint.
sky,
The blueprint.
color you
Huh?
have there.
It allows you to
And you be free,
to
your
reflect
mind,
on life. You think several things with nature. You are free. You can assess every aspect of life.
So this guy was amazed by the beauty of this lady.
And he said that beauty could only be compared. Look at what he says here. He says that your looks are causing to all this. And who, if not accustomed to it, could tell you two apart?
Yeah.
So the whole theme here is love and beauty.
Yeah.
Yes, basically.
Exactly.
Love and beauty.
How I hope men of these days can express their love to women
Oh,
like
there
that.
is a point there. You should ask him. Mr. Poet. Go on.
What you are talking about, the appreciation of love and beauty, they have, generally speaking, look at Shakespeare.
Yes.
Shakespeare's work, either drama or even poetry, they are more of love and beauty content, right?
A lot of
Check most of his drama, but the content you will still have the love there, the theme of love there.
Exactly.
Love is used to bridge the gap between the rich and the poor.
Exactly.
It's used to bridge the gap between people of different ideologies. The only thing that can unite the world together is love.
Okay, guys,
So
good of
that
time.
is why most of the work of this Shakespeare, that time there was too much of gap between the rich and the poor, right? So it's not, Hadraawi is not only writing to appreciate the lady alone.
No.
He's trying to bring that spirit
Love
of
into the
love
environment.
among the people, the
yeah.
Somali in particular.
Now, you can say this again, but let me get back to our analytical person. Let's look at the figure of speech because of time. Let's do it. Figure of speech that he used.
The language.
The
used in
language.
book.
Basically, like I've mentioned before, you cannot approximate the language because since it's basically a translated work, you have to have, if you have the original with you, and there is this thing about the style of writing. It's alliterative from what I've read of other people's comment of this poem. You have these alliterative lines, and this the translator tried to get to that, but he could
We
not
should
do that as
appreciate
much
that, but yeah.
As the author or the one
original.
poet.
So, in talking in terms of figure of speech, you'll find alliteration there.
Alliteration,
You'll find like dazzling dazzler.
Dazzling dazzler.
Because the repetition of this sound. You have happy happenstance. Then you have fair fortune. The repetition of F there.
Of FF.
You have mind mesmerizer. The repetition of M. Then light red light.
Light red light.
The repetition of L there. So basically,
That's
this,
alliteration.
we call this sound equipment in poetry, sound
yeah.
devices.
Yeah.
You bring them in to make the poem have a euphonious sound, like that will sound like music
Lyrical.
to the ears. It becomes lyrical, and that is what you see in this poem. Then you have a metaphor. And when you talk of metaphors in language, you look at metaphors in two perspectives. You talk of direct metaphor and indirect metaphor. Words like fair fortune, mind mesmerizer can also be metaphor. The fever is also metaphorical. He says an empty pail. I'm like an empty pail that's purified.
That is purified.
That's
So-
simile.
That's similar.
No. He said I'm an empty. I'm an empty pail that is purified. So basically, that's metaphor. Then love burning twigs. So these words actually are metaphorical. Then look at personification.
Personification,
Where you use where you give human attributes to inanimate objects. Where he says that bow of its growth. Bows. Basically, it's only a human being that can bow.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's talking of the branch of a tree.
The branch of a tree bowing
So
because of the
he's
fruit.
bending.
Yeah.
Exactly. Then he says, when just falling rain gathers. Only human beings can gather or animals gather.
Yeah.
Then he
But
says,
how can
falling rains gather. So
They gather together.
Then the sky collecting clouds. Basically, a human being does the process of collecting.
But it is the sky.
Then the sky is collecting
itself?
That is personification there. So, and you also have conceit there. Conceit based on we call that extended metaphor, sort of extended metaphor.
Yeah.
It goes beyond just the ordinary metaphor.
Yeah.
Comparing the woman to the light-footed charger,
Yeah.
it compares her to various
Images like
phases
summer.
of the summer, the spring, the sunset, and the period of rainfall. So he compares that to these beautiful images, and also the tree. Look at the text stanza where you have the tree, that tree of unity that unites animals and people together.
Yeah, so everyone comes there.
Yeah. Then you also look at synod choosing a part to represent a whole.
Yeah.
Then you talk of light, black and white. Light, black and white come together to crown you. Then black and white is looking at their skin pigmentation, and it's not just talking of just somebody being black or maybe like the African black or the European white. He's talking of all races of humanity.
And even that part is personified too. Black and white as color.
As color.
And
they come together.
Coming together.
To crown you.
How can color come together to
when they're of different...
So that is also personification.
Then even when he said from head to heel of... He was talking about the fruit.
Yeah.
So he's talking from the head to the toe of the fruit using human parts.
To
represent the whole of the fruit itself. So that is basically these are the figures of speech that you find there.
In an nutshell, how can you describe Hadraawi?
Well, I would say like it's basically everything has been said about him, and we do agree that there is no doubt that he's the greatest Somali poet living now, right now. He's still alive, and the wonderful thing about his poems is the extent of the imagery infused into his works. You come in contact with his work, and his work isn't lend himself to orality. It can be turned into a song, and even based on what the research I've made about him, I discovered that many people have converted his poems into songs. They sing it, and that is the beauty of poetry. When poetry reads like music, it becomes sweet to the ears,
and it becomes everlasting.
Thank you, man. This guy is awesome. So, what do we have for the audience for the next episodes? You're my engineer.
Anyway, we have a lot, as you have said from the beginning.
Yes.
Dear viewers, in ArtFlakes, we're going to have a lot. This is just an intro. Not even introduction. By the time we go deeper into this, I'm sure you're going to love this. You will not miss any of our shows at all. Anyway, next week, as you have said earlier, we'll be looking at other literary work of art. Not only poetry, we'll be looking at drama, we'll be looking at prose like that. But we'll be going from one nation to another. We have just started here.
In Somalia.
Charity begins at home.
Charity begins at home. We'll be moving to other parts of the world. We are going to cover the entire East Africa. This is Codka, Bariga, Africa. When we're done with East Africa, then we can go to other parts of the world.
I can't wait to get to
you're going to be everywhere. Indeed, this is the voice of East Africa. Good morning, East Africa. My name is Felix, Aloice, and this show is what we call ArtFlakes.
ArtFlakes.
See you next time.